In a nondescript building in Europe is a room called the Vault. Nearly 800,000 documents smuggled out of Syria are here, logged and translated, stored and preserved. Chris Engels heads the Regime Crimes Unit at the Commission for International Justice and Accountability, known as CIJA, a non-profit organization funded by Western governments. In these boxes is potential evidence of alleged war crimes that could one day be used against the regime of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad.
The documents cover a wide range of information and levels of command. So they start from the highest levels of command that include information on the president and the policy makers at the national level. We're able to get quite a lot of clarity on how orders went up and down the chain of command, how the responsibility at the highest level for policy is then implemented in a way that we can see criminality actually take place on the ground.
There is no one document here that's a smoking gun, but in international criminal justice, it's about linking the crimes to those responsible. Documents like this 2011 order authorizing pay raises for military personnel, signed by President Assad, the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, may seem innocuous, but Engels says even this is crucial evidence.
We have several documents that are similar to this, with naming Assad and others who demonstrate that they are in control and they have the power to direct the army and security services. And it is a fact that the army and those security services are continuing to commit crimes, and these individuals aren't doing anything to stop it.
CIJA has built dozens of cases against the regime, most relating to the early days of the revolution, the violent repression of protests, and the alleged torture and killing of thousands of demonstrators detained across the country. Since 2012, in the shadows of a war that's unleashed some of the worst atrocities of our time, a network of more than 100 Syrians were recruited, vetted, and trained by CIJA. We get a rare opportunity to meet one of those document hunters. Adel, as he wants to be called, was a lawyer. Now he heads this team that has risked everything to save the evidence.
All members of our team, men and women, have been subjected to arrests or beatings or humiliation or danger. We are operating in a war zone. In most cases, we would enter areas as airstrikes would be ongoing, but we have to go in to collect the evidence before it's damaged.
For Adel and his fellow evidence hunters, a treasure trove of documents has been left behind by the regime's infamous bureaucracy.
After the Free Syrian Army captured locations from the government, like military or intelligence sites, our teams would be ready and they would enter these sites. Their primary task to preserve these documents or what is left of them, because in many cases these documents would be destroyed.
CIJA has not only relied on evidence collected by its own network of investigators. In a number of cases, they've combined that with some of the most damning visual evidence of this conflict. 28,000 horrific photographs of dead detainees smuggled out in 2013 by a military defector codenamed Caesar. CIJA has been able to cross-reference the identifying numbers seen in these pictures with ones in the smuggled documents, allowing them to identify some of the prisoners and link them to specific facilities and the security apparatus who were holding them. One of those photos, of those numbers, was 30-year-old Mohammed al-Khulani, a newlywed law student detained in April of 2012. His sister Amina, a survivor of government jails, now a refugee in the UK, is a living testimony to the Syrian regime's brutality.
طلعوا صور قيصر، ملف قيصر كانت صورة محمد أول صورة، وبنفس التاريخ اللي قال عليه بلال مكتوب على الصورة. رحنا نطلع ورقة.
Documents issued by the regime claim thousands held in its facilities all died of natural causes. 3 other brothers from the al-Khulani family were also detained. Only one of them, Bilal, emerged alive. His gaunt face, testament to the horrors inside government jails. According to CIJA's investigations, it's a story replicated thousands of times over in Syria, where torture is rampant and systematic, and forced confessions are the norm. Syrian government officials did not respond to multiple requests for comment, but the regime has repeatedly dismissed evidence as fake and insisted it was fighting terrorists, not peaceful protesters. Amin al-Khulani still desperately calls for justice for her brothers, but like so many other Syrians, she fears she may never live to see the regime held accountable for its crimes, as Bashar al-Assad seems to have defied the odds for now, surviving a revolution and is on the verge of winning the war.
The tide's changed, and what we're making sure of is that when the shift does come, when the discussion about justice does appear in 5 or 10 or 20 years, that there will be evidence there.
Evidence collected by CIJA has already been used in individual trials in the United States and Europe. It has also led to the arrest in Germany of at least one mid-level regime member accused of torture. For Adel, this is just the start.
I said goodbye to my wife and children and told them I am no longer yours. I am now owned by Syria and justice.
Justice, he says, is a duty from which there is no turning back. Jumana Karache, CNN.